I'll tell you when we're ready to go here.
Will you tag me so that it's on my page too?
Yeah, you'll be tagged.
Okay.
You will definitely be tagged.
Alrighty. I think we're live on Periscope already. It came up on my phone.
Periscope, we're
welcome.
live on. What's up, Periscopers? What's up, YouTubers?
Welcome.
Twitchers and tweeters. And now we're live on we're not live on paranormalwarehouse.com as well. Welcome everybody.
Awesome.
Thanks for tuning in.
Welcome.
Once again.
Thank you guys for tuning in to Phenomena Encountered once again with Dee and Dan. We've got a great show for you guys tonight. I'm really excited about this one. We're going to talk about some really interesting things. I just want to say before we get started, guys, puppy, awesome. Before we get started, guys, please share, invite people to come and watch, share the video, and like, give us lots of love, lots of hearts, lots of likes. And yeah, we're going to begin.
Feel free to ask questions too. If you guys have any questions that you want to ask about UFOs, man, this is the guy to talk to, I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely feel free to put your questions in any of the chat groups on YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, or Facebook. It's going to be...
We're really excited about tonight's show. I'm really excited. I'm glad that we're finally here. Been wanting to talk UFOs for a while now, so I'm extremely excited, and I know so is Dan. And I've been waiting, actually, since last week. I've been waiting for tonight, and we're finally here. So, guys, yes.
You know when Dee's excited for a show? When she's on time.
Yes.
We can actually start the show at 8:30, 7:30.
It didn't start it late today.
No, we were right on time. You were, like, calling me early. I was like, holy crap.
Mm-hmm. Very excited for today. Paul Kenyon's in the chat room.
And Rosa said good job on being on time. She was very happy that you're on time.
Yay. I just want to say hi to everybody that's in the chat room. Chanel and Fletcher, hello. Cheryl, hello. Teresa McGowan, hello. Jennifer Innes is there. Shayla is in there. Madison Smith, hello, everybody. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Colette McCardle, thank you so much for joining. Everybody, please share. Invite people to come and watch, and we're going to get started. So, Dan, how was your Tuesday today?
My Tuesday, it was jam-packed. It's like I don't have enough time in the day, you know, and then I had a little award ceremony at my daughter's school, and then got home, ate dinner, took the kids out for ice cream, and then came and got the show ready. And here we are.
Yeah. The day flew by for me as well. I had a lot of things to take care of, and I ran so many errands. And before you know, and I got up super early too. And before you know it, by the time we got back home, it was already like past 5 o'clock. I'm like, where did the time go? I didn't even realize we had been out for hours and hours. And so I don't know. It's crazy the way the time just flies by. But we're finally here. And I'm excited about tonight. Everybody, please help us welcome our amazing guest tonight, Tom Conwell. Hello and welcome to the show. Tom, how are you doing this awesome Tuesday?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me. And my dog's very active, so she brings things over to me to throw around. So if you hear squeaking, that's what that is.
Oh my God, that's totally okay. I have the same problem with my dog Steven. Whenever I'm in here doing a show, and he always does the same thing. He brings his toy under the table, and people will hear the squeak, and it's usually me, but today it's going to be you because Steven's over there with his daddy. He's outside in the other room, so he's not bothering mommy today.
He'll probably find his way in before the end of the show.
He just might. He tends to do that. But we love fur babies, and I'm glad to hear that you've got your fur baby there with you, and she's very active. Do you want to? Oh yeah, no, you did. You held her up, and everybody got to see your fur baby a little while ago.
She's a cutie. Come here.
Yeah,
baby.
she really is.
What kind is it again? It's a Furtice, a Pootice.
Now it's a Maltese and a poodle.
Oh wow!
Called a multi-poo.
A multi-poo.
Multi-poo.
Yeah.
Oh.
Why when I say the word multi-poo do I think of Smile Kyle? I don't know why.
I don't know why.
I don't know why.
Oh my god, that's so cute. A multi-poo. I've never heard of that though, but I think that's so cute. Maltese and a poodle. A multi-poo, or a poo. No, I guess you can say a poodle and multi. You can't say a pooties because that
Oh,
doesn't sound
no,
good.
that's the
Oh,
th
that's not good.
those are the French fries with the gravy. Oh, that's poutine.
That doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good. Well, Tom, thank you so much for joining us today on the show. And I guess we always like to start off, first of all, by saying we had Tim on the show a couple weeks back. What, about maybe 2-3 weeks ago?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah?
Yeah, three weeks
Yeah,
ago.
I was sitting right next to him.
Oh, how cool! That's awesome.
Yep.
That is awesome. Yeah, we had him on the show, and I tried to be a part of that one. I came in towards the end because we were actually on the road, and I had my Skype on the phone for that show, and then we went through some really bad reception, and I couldn't join. I joined Dan towards like the last 30 minutes, but the last 30 minutes I was there, it was good. You know, we talked a little bit more paranormal, but then we talked some more UFOs, and that was cool. And he's like, "You really need to be talking to my dad about this."
And I said, you know what? Let's set that up. And I had Vicky set it up.
So that's what we're excited. Yeah, and I always tell Dan I love having these types of shows when we talk, you know, UFO and talk UFO phenomena and just all the different, because to me it's extremely interesting, because when you take all the different accounts and the witnesses and people, the experiencers, and a lot of these people that have never met each other, have never talked, and then you listen to their different accounts and they sound so similar. Then you tell yourself there's got to be something to that. And I know some people say, well, there's got to be something to that. The fact that there's a lot of these stories that they parallel and they sound almost identical. And these are people all over the world and they've never even talked or met. So I always find that fascinating and really interesting. And
I do too.
I want to get into I want to get into that a little later, but before we do that, I'm just going to give you a little opportunity for those viewers that are listening and maybe don't know what it is that you do. Just give you this opportunity to sort of introduce yourself and tell our viewers and listeners, what exactly do you do?
Well, that's a big long question, but I'll try to make it short. What I used to do was I dealt with electronics for about 42 years, and I'm hearing double here. Anyhow, what I did was I would take the electronics that I had learned and
if you turn the volume down on your computer screen, or mute the volume on your computer screen, like if you have Facebook up on your screen.
Unfortunately, I'm muting you.
Do you have Facebook up on your screen?
Yes.
Just close that, so you're
Close
not.
Facebook?
Yeah, because you're basically picking up the volume from Facebook and Skype at the same time.
All right. Yeah, because there was a delay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyhow, I had 42 years of electronics work through the Navy and through Honeywell, and that set me up pretty well to jump right into paranormal investigation. I'm very familiar with electronics and electronic instruments and wave propagation, so I was pretty well set up for understanding EMF and picking up EVPs and things along these lines. Well, I joined a paranormal team after I retired, and then I went to I asked if it was possible to start up a UFO group, and they started up a UFO group and made me a ufologist. Well, my first chore as a ufologist was to write a series of blogs that described where UFOs come from, what they do in the skies, why, and discuss the physics around it. So I did about 35 of those blogs, and some of them were pretty long, and realized that I had a pretty darn good collection of information about UFOs and where they how they fly through the air. So I stuck them together in a book, and that book is called Going Interstellar. It's this one right here.
Nice.
Oh, awesome.
And that's available through Amazon. So in addition to that, I had the distinct privilege of being able to interview a bunch of people who claimed that they were abducted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was eye-opening. Let me tell you. I thought it was going to go in and maybe remove some of the doubts around what people are thinking, and perhaps even to debunk some of the things that they were telling me.
Interesting.
Well, I was wrong. They were the teachers. They told me things that I could not believe, and I learned a tremendous amount.
Cool.
And used that, as a matter of fact, when I started writing my next book. And I didn't talk about abductions only because what people told me during abductions is they were highly personal things. And I told them that I would never tell anyone else what they shared with me. But what I did was I took a bunch of the generalized things that they told me, and I was able to utilize that and focus my next books in on that type of subject matter.
Now, I know the answer to this question, Tom, but I'm going to ask it anyway, and I'm going to ask why. Obviously, you've done a lot of research on this, but do you think that there is life elsewhere in this universe?
That's another long question. Okay. Yes, there is life in the universe, and this is why I think that there is life in the universe. We live in the Milky Way galaxy, and there's probably 200 or so billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy. 200 billion. That's a 2 with 11 zeros after it. That's a lot of stars.
That is a lot of zeros.
Yeah. And in recent visualizations that we've tried to do with other star systems close up, is we found that there are multiple planets around many of these star systems. Many of them could handle life because they're approximately our size and in the Goldilocks zone, and maybe liquid water would exist on the surface. Not only that, it's possible that there are moons that could support life. So not only do we have planets, we have moons that could support life, and possibly even larger asteroids or planetoids.
Wow.
So that's a whole lot of potential for each star. Okay, now remember I said there's 200 billion in the Milky Way galaxy. There's 2 trillion galaxies.
Wow.
So if you were to consider the Milky Way being an average size galaxy, what you do to figure out generally how many stars in the universe would be 2 trillion times 200 billion. And that number would be a 4 with 23 zeros after it.
Wow.
That's how many stars are out there. I think that number is way low. It's probably 100 times that. Okay?
Yeah.
There's just a tremendous amount of stars out there. Let's just say that we did that multiplication. So that's a 4 with 23 zeros after it. If it's 1 in a million planets, 1 in a million stars that have life, what you would do is take away 6 zeros from the previous number I told you, and you'd end up a 4 with 17 zeros after it. That's how many civilizations there'd be.
Wow.
For 1 in a million.
Wow.
Okay, let's say it's 1 in a trillion. Well, then you take another 6 off, and so there'd be a 4 with 11 zeros after it. civilizations.
Wow.
Actual full-blown civilizations. That's how likely life is out there. And
Yeah.
I swear there's life in absolutely every star system, even if it's just microbial or bacterial.
Wow, that's so crazy to think about. I didn't even think of that large of number of
Yeah.
how large it is.
It's
The numbers,
vast. Yeah.
those numbers are so large that the human mind can't grasp them. You just can't.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy to
It's
even think about.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's amazing, and when you put it that way, it's true. I mean, I know there's a lot of debate, and some people say, well, no, there's no way, it hasn't been proven yet. But when you think about it that way, you look at those numbers and you think it's just so vast and so huge. I mean, my thought on it is always, of course, there's other life. Of course, there's life out there. There's no. I just don't see it in my like. There's no way that we're the only ones. You know.
Oh, absolutely. That's why. That's why. There's just so many.
Absolutely, absolutely. And people in the chat room are just they're agreeing. They say definitely. So there's a comment I want to read to you from the chat room.
Sure.
Shannon in Australia, she says there's a face on Mars just like on Earth. Plus there's 3 pyramids on Mars like in Egypt. So I guess they have found all these different structures and things on Mars that. And sometimes I feel like they try to just shy that away or say, oh, that's nothing, or that's just that. But I mean, when you look at all these similarities and all these things that are out there, there's definitely more to it than just nothing, you know?
Well, sure. Now, if we had admitted early on, like 50, 75 years ago, that there was life on Mars, it could very well have changed a whole lot of the dynamics of religions and how we think about other civilizations. So I think to be on the prudent side, they didn't release that information and just sort of hid it. Well, unfortunately, they hid it for so long. Now they're going to have trouble admitting it.
Yeah.
Because when they admit it, they're going to admit that they had to hide things. That's not going to be good.
God forbid, right? God forbid.
Yeah, that's not going to be good.
God forbid they have to come out and be honest. You know, like.
Yep.
Crazy.
Julie Cole Guthrie on Paranormal Warehouse chat room, she has a question for you. She says, what are your thoughts on them living among us?
Interesting.
My dog was barking. What are my thoughts on what?
On them living among us.
Oh, okay. I believe that we are being actively visited by multiple civilizations. How many? I haven't a clue. But I am absolutely certain that many of them, if not all of them, have some sort of representation on the Earth that we're living alongside. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. They want to watch us carefully. And the reason they want to watch us is because of what happened back in the mid-40s.
Okay.
What happened in the 1940s is we set off nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
And then, to make matters worse, we used the nuclear weapons against our own people, meaning our own Earthlings. And that scared the crap out of some of these other civilizations. They're thinking that if we can do that against our own people, what will we do against an alien race? So it became imperative for them to find out what we were up to and why, and try to understand us. And that's when the UFO phenomenon really jumped into high gear. And they haven't let up ever since.
Well, and it sounds to me like when you put it that way, it sounds to me like it's a case of like it almost they're more afraid of us than we are of them. In some sense, when you look at it that way, if they thought, wow, they're capable of doing this to their own, what would they do to another human, to another race, another living race out there, and you know. It sounds like that, like that they're more afraid of us than we would be of them. So they're just trying to make sure, keep tabs on us, I guess.
Yeah, and potentially they're very wary of us. They don't know what we're capable of doing because we've already done the unthinkable. So what else could we do? Could we blow up our entire planet? We came close a couple of times with the nuclear showdowns, and that would not have been good.
I agree.
Do you feel that any of the governments are in contact with alien life form, where they actually communicate? And
although they say absolutely not, I don't. I can't see how it's not possible. It's kind of a double negative there.
Look at how far we're advancing so quickly. And
that's another story.
Yeah.
Are they giving us the technology, or did we take it because of crashed craft?
That's what I'm thinking, but who knows?
It could be both.
They're all theories, right? We don't know for sure.
And I heard one theory that said that in exchange for allowing the ETs to take our people and experiment on them, they would give us some breadcrumbs of their advanced technologies. And
wow.
I'm not so sure that's true, but
I've heard that. As a matter of fact, I've heard that theory, and I've heard that what's the name of those experiments? The oh my gosh, I don't remember. It's on the tip of my tongue. Where back when they were doing that, when they were allowing some people here it was like an exchange program they had with them, where they would allow them some humans, earthlings, I guess you could say. They'd experiment on them, study them in exchange for new technology.
Yeah, and I think that the prevailing thought at that point, and I'm not so sure that it's true or not, but the prevailing thought at that point was that they didn't get enough from us and started doing things on their own by abducting people.
Do you think with all the recent sightings that people are seeing, it seems like more and more and more people are very aware of what's around them? And I mean, do you think at any point that the alien life form is going to invade the Earth?
No. I don't think that at all. Here's why. First of all, in order to get here, they have to have some really intense electronics. Plus, they have to have very highly advanced transport systems, like so far advanced that we can't even think about it. So they're already way, thousands of years probably, if not millions of years ahead of us. Why would they want to invade our planet and deal with our nonsense and perhaps even lose a couple of craft along the way just because we got a lucky shot in? It would just make sense if they came up near our planet, designed a couple of viruses, and sent the viruses down on a few people that they took, and let us kill ourselves, and then they can have the whole planet to themselves.
Interesting theory.
Yeah.
That would be the smart way to do it.
Oh, sure it would. It only makes sense that they would do things a smart way because they'd be so far advanced from us.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I have a question here, and I'm really interested in what you're going to say. Dan LeFay is asking, what does and I want to know what you think on this. What does Majestic 12 mean to him?
Oh, Majestic 12. Well, I'm not going to make anything up here. Majestic 12 was from back when they had set up an organization to try to oversee the UFO stuff. And I don't want to answer any more than that because it wouldn't be fair for me to say what other people think, because I don't have an opinion on that because I haven't studied it.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Yeah, I would just
Fair enough.
feel more comfortable not even commenting on it.
Oh no, of course. Fair enough. Fair enough. I just because I've read up on that and stuff, and I know that there's a lot of theories, a lot of different. So I was like, I wonder what's his thought on that. But definitely, I know. I mean, if you haven't, you don't have an opinion on that, of course. Let's see.
Kyle over on Periscope, he's wanting to know why he's had an experience where he feels he's seen them in Canada, and he's wondering why they only display themselves for a very short amount of time, then they display in these weird patterns in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, seeing them meaning the craft, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Well, they certainly have their reasons for doing what they're doing. I don't know what they are and why they're only showing themselves to us in certain ways. Let me throw out a couple of theories.
Mm-hmm.
When these crafts show themselves to us, they utilize another dimension for travel and for residing in. And when they interface to the point that we can see them, a lot of times they're just interfacing through our visible spectrum for only a short period of time. And that's what we're seeing in the sky.
Gotcha.
A very short transitions. I don't think that there's a whole lot going on there that isn't related to a dimensional travel and a dimensional residence.
Interesting. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people talking about Roswell, the Roswell crash, and I know on all platforms. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts are. Is that like the smoking gun?
No, I don't think so. Many people like to grab onto Roswell as if that's the be-all, end-all. In my opinion, it was an interesting event. Mm-hmm. We learned a lot from it. We probably figured out a couple of things about their technology, but that's not the smoking gun. It really has nothing to do with the smoking gun. The real smoking gun in ufology is the sheer amount of things being seen in the sky. There's just so many things being seen by tremendous amounts of people. That's where the real smoking gun is, the quantity of things in the sky. And there has been, since 2001, there's been a large increase in the amount of things being seen. Around 2011, 2013 timeframe, there was a peak. And since then, it's dropped off some. I don't think because there's fewer of them there. I think it's because they don't find the need to transition through our visible environment anymore, because they're already just residing in their extra dimensions, and they're getting all the information they need from these extra dimensions. I don't think that they need to zip into our plane of existence and show themselves and then disappear. They don't have to do that anymore because they're already here. And I think that's why the amount of sightings has gone down.
Wow.
Well, what are your thoughts on the Barney and Betty Hill situation, that experience?
Okay. That was a direct abduction where Barney and Betty were taken, and they were told some things, and Betty especially remembered some events that she was told. Even remembered a star chart that she was shown.
Yeah.
And that was interesting, and I've heard a lot of similar stories from people that they had things shared with them. But of all of the things that people told me about UFOs, the things that they shared that were shared by extraterrestrials with them is the comment, "Take care of your planet."
Huh.
That's the number one thing that was shared with the people who were abducted. take care of your planet. In other words, they know that we're polluting the crap out of it, and we should cut it out.
Nice.
Wow.
Yep, and
they
even mentioned at one point to one person that that I talk with what was I going to say? They mentioned to them that the Earth, it could very well be undergoing a irreversible change that is not likely to right itself for several thousand years. And we could end up in deep doo-doo with lots of people dying.
Wow.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, I mean, let me just throw something else out there. I wrote about in my They Are Here Volume 2 and in Volume 3 some commentary from the Native Americans that said that we are in the final stages of what the extraterrestrials told them was going to be either a period where the Earth will be in a very good position, and that everyone will thrive. But we could very well end up in a situation where the Earth will be in such a bad shape that it would be necessary to perform a master reset. Now, I think master reset would mean wiping out most of the life on the Earth and starting again.
Rosa on YouTube's asking, is there a differential between different types of UFOs? You know, because there's all these theories of different, you know, humanoids, reptilian, you know, all these different type of.
Okay. As far as the different craft, I studied the quantities of certain crafts seen in the sky, and mapped them out, and the information I do not have is which races of beings are flying which ships. If I'm not mistaken, someone wrote from Russia, if I'm not mistaken, someone wrote a 90-page document about which races are flying which kind of craft.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was very interesting, but I have no idea how they knew that, if they just made it up, if it was right or not. I have no idea. But I have not come across that information, even in the research that I was doing in discussing people's abduction interviews. They just didn't have that information.
Now, is there similarities between UFOs that were spotted, like say in the 50s and 60s, that what people are seeing today, or does it seem like they're different? Or are you able to like say, okay, somebody saw a ship that looked like this in 1960. Oh, look at it's 2012, and we just saw a ship that looked similar to that one. Is there a study done like that, or?
Yeah, sort of. The one bit of information that I can tell you is when I was looking at sightings, it started from the National UFO Reporting Center's database, and the people that put in reports back to when they were children and remembered seeing things, and then it goes back to like the 1940s. And what I did notice is that in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, the predominant craft in the sky was the prototypical flying saucer.
Right.
Okay. Now, after that, they started seeing other things in the sky. And they were spheres. If you can imagine that, just a round ball in the sky. Right? I have no idea how they fly, or if they're a craft or what, but they see round balls in the sky, and many of them are internally lighted and will change. Well, around 1990 is when these people started seeing more and more triangular craft. Again, I don't know if that was a difference in the people flying them or not, but the triangular craft started to show up. It was about that time that there were a lot of discussion that we may have been developing our own craft based on crashed ET craft. And one of those kind of craft that we would have developed was the triangular craft. So were they ours or not? I think some of them perhaps were, but others were visitors. Then, what I noticed in the reports is that around 2000, people would see things in the sky, and then they would morph into something different. In other words, they'd see a flying saucer, and then it would turn into a ball of fire, and then into a sphere and a triangle, and take off at high speeds. Now, what did they just see? Did they see a flying saucer? Did they see an orb? Did they see a triangle? What the heck did they see? And there's a whole lot of that being seen these days, where things morph from one to another. One I saw that this guy described a long tubular craft. Looked like a cigar flying, he said.
Oh.
And that this cigar changed into a circular sphere. Now, a cigar is long and thin, and what did it do in order to change into a sphere?
It transformed, right?
I guess, I don't know. And people have also noticed since that point in time that there were some a craft that would fly into each other and become one, almost like that bad guy in what was the name of that?
Oh, Will Smith.
No. The bad guy in darn it. In yeah, I've drawn a blank.
That one movie.
Anyhow, where the guy was molten metal.
Oh, Terminator.
The Terminator.
Terminator, yes.
Yeah.
Arnold.
And they tried to blow the guy up 100 different ways, and the liquid would keep coming together and make the guy whole. And that's what was described multiple times, that people would see in the air. It would look like molten metal, and then two things would fly together and fly away as one.
Wow. I've seen that. I have seen that.
Wow.
I've seen that above Hinsdale, and I've
Wow.
talked
Really?
about it a couple of times. When it was in July last year after an event, and I was out in the backyard, and I saw these two lights, and they zigzagged in the sky, and then they connected together and gone, and it was just weird.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny because they've talked about all the way dating back to like 1969 of sightings there, and Claire even talked about it in her book. And I don't want to make this about the Hinsdale house, but it's just it's just interesting, really interesting that you said that, and I'm like, oh my God, that's my story. That's the one I always tell of my experience, and it's crazy.
Yeah, it's incredible how many people have the same stories because they're seeing the same things in the sky.
Right.
Over and over.
Yes. It's true. The stories are all similar, and that's what fascinates me. One of the things that fascinates me the most is you get the similar stories about things that they see in the sky, similar abduction stories, similar memories, and it's like, it's not, to me, it's more than just coincidence. There's a lot more to it, and that's proof in itself. That all
To
these
some.
accounts.
Just there's always going to be those non-believers, you know. There's always I mean, just with anything that we do, until there's proof in the plate there, nobody will believe it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree.
But Kyle asked a really interesting question about just wanting to know if you knew anything about Area 51 and if there is an actual biological alien specimen that's been recovered. That, you know, because you see so many stories out, pictures of aliens, pictures of this, pictures of that, and you know, what is your aspect or your belief or your thought on Area 51, and do you think that that's a big cover up, or what do you think about that?
Area 51 used to be a big deal. Everything's been moved out of there and redistributed in multiple different places across the country. There's no one repository. And do we have alien bodies? Well, we got loads of them from crashed craft. Yeah.
Wow.
Got a question that was in the chat room, and I don't remember who sent it. I just saw it and then I lost it. But they wanted to know, what are your thoughts on why governments don't come out with the full truth yet? Why do you think they haven't come out with full truth, or to let people know?
Yeah. Why there's no disclosure yet? Boy, there's lots of different reasons for that. I think one of them is they're still concerned that religions will not handle the idea that there's another civilization that hasn't been assimilated with God yet. And I think that could be a real problem for some religions.
I mean, that could theoretically devastate the planet.
It's possible. I actually think we're a little bit more evolved than that, but it could create some issues with some of them. That's one thing. The other thing is, we've been lying for so long. Do you want to be the person who's going to come out and start telling the truth and find out, have the population find out that their lives could be 100 times better with alien technology that we've been hoarding to ourselves? How do you think that would go over?
Oh, that wouldn't go over too well at all.
I mean, if they said it the right way, I mean, people seem to be understanding. You know, I mean, a lot of people do. I mean, sorry, the past governors have been lying. We want to come out and tell everybody the truth. I think people would be able to handle it. I really do. And
people would handle it. That's true, until they realized that all along they could have gotten free energy to run their cars, to heat their homes.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you, when you hit people in the pocketbook, they'd be pissed at the
government, and the government would probably go whoosh, goodbye.
Yep. That would not be good.
No.
That would not be good. So that's another theory. And there's several others that are floating around out there. I actually think that the biggest problem is the fact that they haven't moved past 1955, and they're still thinking in terms of 1955 and how we would react as if it were 1955. They just haven't been able to move past that point, and I think that's the big deal.
Wow.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. But it's going to be one of those questions where everyone's waiting for disclosure. Everyone's waiting and wanting it to happen, and it's always a big, when is disclosure going to happen? And I think it's one of the, I guess it's because when they're waiting for that official word. But to me, I mean, this is just me. I feel like, well, it's already obvious that they exist. But
they're going to have to go about doing it the right way, so there's not an uproar or uprising, It's going to have to be done the right way, and I don't know what that way is, thinking about it.
Honestly, Dan, I don't think they know either.
It's going to be a long process.
They're scared of saying the wrong thing, and it's potentially very upsetting to a lot of people.
Wow.
How would you handle, say for instance, if you have like a basic belief in God, and then an extraterrestrial race came along and told you that there wasn't one, and they're advanced from you?
I'm sure there'd still be people that believe.
Well, sure they would, but it would shake everyone to the core.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of reasons why they won't just come out with it. And what they've been doing very slowly is they've been allowing little bits of things to come out, so that when they finally do have it come out and they make their big disclosure, that everybody will say, yeah, we knew that. That's what they're looking for right now.
Now, do you
yeah.
you get around too? I mean, you talk about this. I mean, you do lectures. If anybody wanted to have you come and talk about this, or I know you've done lectures, Scarefest, right? You've been there a few times.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Now, have you spoken at any other big conventions or anything like that, or where have you actually been to as far as like speaking engagements on this?
Well,
you wrote a few books, right? You have a couple books?
Yeah. I have a total of 4 books.
Yeah.
Skip, I just spoke at the New Jersey Para-Unity Expo.
Yes.
That was very interesting there. That was really interesting.
It's an amazing event.
I had a whole lot of people there, and a whole ton of questions. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. East Coast Paracon I spoke at. There's a UFO monthly meeting at Pine Bush, New York, and I speak there once a year usually. And our paranormal team has a paranormal panel, and we have various psychics, and I think Tim talked about it, and Tim and Stacy are empaths, and we have a cryptozoologist and a guy who has been on TV multiple times, Jack Kenna. And,
boy, I was gonna say
myself,
this is a stacked team.
Yeah, they're really, yeah, we have quite an organization, and
can people join? Is there like
can people what?
Join your organization?
As far as being on the team, I'm not the one to speak for the team. I don't know.
I know,
sure.
Me and Dee want to join. Let's see if maybe they'll let us come on an investigation.
They could very well grab you. Yeah, and that would be Stacy.
Well, we got Stacy.
Stacy or Steve.
We'll buy a couple massages from her and we'll butter her
There
up.
you go. That'll do it. That'll do it.
But I think it would be very interesting to just to see what you do and like see you out in the field and add an actual investigation. Like what type of techniques do you use? I mean, are there like hot spots? Are there like times, like is everything mapped out? Like, well, we should go here and maybe we'll see a UFO. Or is there like these highways that they talk about that they may travel on that maybe you're more prone to see something? Or, I mean, what do you think about that?
Okay. Now I do not do field investigations.
Oh.
Okay.
I take a database that is established and crunch the data and try to find commonalities within the data and try to track where these things are being seen, why they're hot spots, and write about the hot spots.
Now, have you seen one?
A hot spot or a
no,
UFO?
Have you actually seen a UFO?
Yeah, 4 different times.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah. And
I have an interesting question. Well, after you tell us this, I have an interesting question for you, but I want to hear what you have to say first.
Okay. I was doing almost only. I was performing the interviews with people who were abducted, and some of these interviews took quite a bit of time, maybe a month or 2 of multiple discussions. And then I would write a report and give it to them, and we would talk about it some more. But the last one that I did that and never thought I was going to stop. I thought I was just going to continue until I saw my very first UFO. Now, I had already done a bunch of UFO interviews, abduction interviews, and I still hadn't seen a UFO. So I saw things in the sky, and there were 9 of them, and they were awesome. I never talked to another person about doing an abduction interview afterward.
Wow.
Never talked to another person, because I realized at that point in time I had to find out where they were and why they were there.
Wow.
And I've been researching that ever since.
Has anybody ever tried to keep you? This is a question from Periscope, but has anybody ever tried to keep you from telling your stories of that, what you've encountered or what you've researched?
No. I had an event one time where our team, our paranormal team, I was on a different paranormal team at that point. Okay, this was prior to the extreme paranormal coming into existence, and they told me that they had seen UFOs, and the guy was worried about being abducted, and said there was also ghosts involved. So we had 3 people go out. One was a psychic, another was an empath, and myself, who was looking into UFOs. And I had the oddest experience. This guy brought some materials over to me, sat down next to me, and started asking me questions about, what do you think about this, Tom? Is it possible that UFOs could do this, Tom? Do you think that UFOs are in the sky above us, Tom? You know, it was really odd, really odd. I am absolutely convinced, as were the people I was with, that I was targeted on that. The guy wanted to know what I knew.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So what I realized after, and we hadn't discussed this with each other because we couldn't get away from the guy, right? So I didn't know what anybody else was thinking. So what I told him is that he was describing things that could very well have been a Native American haunting. So I told him that he really should contact the shaman and have them come in and do a blessing and whatever else that they may do to the land around him, and then perhaps have us back. I told him that just so I could get the hell out of there because I was scared to death. I thought I wasn't coming home that night. I swear to God. I thought that was it. So I got a chance to go out to the car, and as I was leaving, I said to the 2 people I was with, "Is that the oddest thing you've ever seen in my life?" He said, "Tom, you were targeted." I said, "I know, that's exactly what I felt like." You know, it's like this guy wanted to know what I knew about UFOs and why. And I had been, by the way, at the same time, I had been publishing my blogs. And my blogs were heavy into physics and how UFOs may indeed be able to do the things they're doing. And I think I garnered some attention from that. And I had some people asking me questions that made me feel very uncomfortable. That was the only time.
Wow. And definitely, it does sound like that's what happened. You were definitely targeted. They wanted to know what, and it happens to a lot of people that experience like elaborate things like that, or they end up feeling later that they're questioned or targeted because they want to know what exactly they know, or if they experience more than what they're saying. I've heard a lot of stories like that. I have. And what I wanted to ask you, it popped in my head because I've interviewed several people and I've heard different stories of people that have been or claimed to have been abducted, and there's something similar in all those stories. And one of the things that's similar with them is that they all say that they experienced that sort of communication, but through almost like mind reading.
Telepathy.
Yeah, telepathy. That sort of. And have you seen that a lot? Is that something that happens a lot often with people with abductees? And what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Most of the people that told me a story that I actually believed. Now, I didn't believe all of them. Some of them were, let's just say they weren't believable and be nice about it. Other people really wanted to say that they were abducted and weren't. The people that believed, they were able to tell me that they had some sort of understanding, communication between themselves and one of the abductors. And there's one girl who told me that she saw what she described as 4 different races of people in the same place.
Wow.
And one was a short gray, another was a tall gray, another was a person that looked like it may have been a hybrid human alien, and a bug, as in a praying mantis.
Wow.
Oh wow. Ooh.
A 6-foot praying mantis.
Oh my gosh.
That's not freaky.
No, not at all.
If you read the book Communion, that's described very accurately within the book. Because Whitley Strieber saw a very similar thing, and described this bug in precisely the same way that the young gal described it to me. And this is one of the stories I believed, because who the hell could make that up, you know? I mean, that was really incredible. And she, to this day, is a very powerful psychic.
Oh, wow.
That's the one thing that is common with the people that I believed. They are now powerful psychics.
Wow.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, that's
interesting.
awesome.
No, yeah, that is very, very interesting, because that's one thing that I found in common too. A lot of these people end up having heightened psychic abilities, whether it's also empathic abilities that get heightened after experiencing these things. I've heard that, and also clairvoyance. They end up having strong abilities with clairvoyance after experiencing this over. And it makes you think, I wonder if when this happens, they're studying, testing, doing whatever they do, and sort of, I guess, gifting them with these abilities, maybe transferring their abilities onto the humans in a way.
Well, I've gathered that they aren't really gifting us with anything. They are contacting those portions of our mind that we have never used before, and turning them on.
Wow. Yeah, and that's a big portion.
Yeah.
That we haven't tapped into. And we're getting close to the end of the show here. I just want to be able to...
Quick.
I know, it goes by super quick. I want to make sure that we're plugging anything you got coming up, anything that you want to mention, where people can find you. You said, I know you mentioned Amazon for your books, but anything you want to plug before the show's over, so we can people know where to go find you.
Okay, well, like I said, I've written 4 books. There's one called Going Interstellar, and this is a collection of blogs. Then I have my They Are Here series. They Are Here Volume 1.
Oh, nice.
They are here. Volume 1 is the East Coast. They are here Volume 2, and Volume 2 is the Central U.S., and they are here Volume 3, which is the Western U.S.
Awesome.
And in addition to that, I have a web page, and on my web page, I sell my books, plus I sell a poster of a UFO sighting map that I created.
Cool.
It's an 18 by 24
Awesome.
poster. This is a keeper. It's unbelievable. Anyhow, the web page is entitled www.theyarehere-conwell, CONWELL.com. That's
They are here.
www.theyarehere-conwell, CONWELL.com.
Okay, I'm putting that into the chat room.
I'll put it in there too.
And you can get UFO sighting map. If you order, you can order my books from me there. The only thing that I cannot do is send it overseas or send it outside of the country.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's the only thing I cannot do. Unfortunately, I'd love to, but it costs me an arm and a leg to do that.
Get they can get copies on Amazon, like the Kindle or whatever. Get that.
Yeah. Amazon. Only Volume 1 is available on Kindle.
All right. Well, at least there's something for our overseas guests, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, they can certainly order through Amazon, Amazon Europe and Amazon Australia, I believe. You can get it through there.
Cool.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I'd like to get one of those maps. I think that would be cool to have.
Me too.
I'm going to order one.
I definitely would love one of those maps.
All right, we've pinned the website up for you guys on the chat in Paranormal Warehouse. Tom, you got any events you got coming up that you want to plug?
The only event I have coming up, and I actually backed off of doing a lot of events. I got quite ill last year, and I'm just slowly getting back into the swing of things. Is I'm going to Scarefest. I'm giving 3 speeches at Scarefest. 2 about UFOs and 1 with our paranormal team. So that should be just an absolute blast. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm also perhaps doing some collaborative work with a couple of TV stars whom I can't mention yet, but that could be interesting for me.
Stay tuned for that.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
Awesome. I can't wait for that.
All right, guys.
I'm serious. I'm definitely going to go order that map because that's very intriguing. Very, very intriguing.
You get that with the third. You get that with the third book. You get the map.
I wish. No. Unfortunately, they're ordered separately.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was a well
Darn. But
nice try.
We pinned all your information up in the chat rooms. I put up that website. They are here-conwell.com on inside the Paranormal Warehouse chat room. It's pinned up there so people can go and order and just look at that and go see if they'd like to order any books or the map or anything else you get on there. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I think this was awesome. I think the time went by way too fast
I
for
know.
something like this. I think
We're gonna
we need
have
to
to do
have
this again.
a 2-hour show for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have liked to have gotten a little bit more into more of the stories and things like that, but there's just not enough time for all of that. But thank you so much. This was awesome to have you on with us tonight. Yeah, we just really enjoyed it.
It was a real pleasure for me to be on. Believe me,
a
lot of fun.
So much. Yeah, thank you so much, Dan. Do you have anything else you want to plug or talk about before we go?
No, that's it, man. I see everybody in Tennessee on Saturday. I'll be down in Tennessee at Brushy State Prison. I think there's still a couple tickets left. If anybody wants to come down and investigate, it'll be cool.
Awesome. And guys, tune in again tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m. Central. Same place, Paranormal Warehouse, and all of our other Periscopes and YouTubes, Man is the Moon, Periscope and Man is the Moon YouTube for tomorrow's Box Talk show with Mooney and D on Paranormal Warehouse, 8:30 Central Time tomorrow. tune in and come ask your questions. We're going to have a little bit of psychic talk, paranormal talk, and we'll be answering your psychic questions for you. And if those of you that have been following, you've seen that we've been, Chris and I have now started selling some magic moon jewelry. I think that's awesome. We're doing precious stones, healing stones, crystals, and yeah, just go check that out. We're going to put some pictures up for you guys to go see. We can custom anything you guys want. Just let us know color you need. I personally am going in there and adding charms to them. And just everything we do is custom made for you guys. Let us know what you want, and we'll get that for you. That's about it. That's all we've got.
I want to plug next week's guest too. I'm excited.
Oh, yes.
We're going to be talking small town monsters. We got Seth Breedlove on next week. He's
cool.
the director of Small Town Monsters, so we'll be talking Bigfoot next week.
Yay! That's awesome.
And other crypto creatures, I'm sure. So yeah, make sure you tune in next week, guys. We'll have Seth Breedlove on again. Thanks, Tom, so much for being on the show tonight, and we'll definitely get you back on.
Thank you, Tom.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
All right, guys, have a good week, and make sure you tune in for Box Talk tomorrow night. Peace.
Please do that, guys. Love you all. Smile, and remember to make someone else smile too. Love you guys. Bye-bye.